Hey everybody, welcome back to Grit and Grind. As you can see from the two keys, it's not really the truck we're working on today. This is a lawnmower key. So as you can tell by the for sale signs and this Cub Cadet, we are going to go ahead and sell this. But before we do, gotta make sure that we get it tuned up and cleaned off because it is filthy. From the last video, you might remember that we got a new mower. It's a bit of an upgrade. So we're going to go ahead, clean this up, get it ready for sale. So you can see I have the engine maintenance kit for this. Comes with oil, air filter, oil filter, new spark plugs, and a fuel filter. This is a Cub Cadet RZTS zero turn. It's a zero turn with the steering wheel, not the traditional levers like you would see. And it has a 50-inch deck on it. So the Scag we picked up has a 52-inch deck, and it is a commercial grade mower. One thing nice about this one, and it has served me very well over the years, it's very light, easy to maneuver, runs really well, has always treated me well. It is also one that came directly from Cub Cadet. This isn't one that we got from Home Depot or Lowe's. Those ones are of a different quality. That's why you get them for a lower price. They use different parts in them, slightly different parts, and slightly different motors. This one has the Kohler 7000 series, 23 horsepower. So we're gonna go ahead, get this cleaned up and get it ready for sale. The first thing we need to do for that is I wanna get this cleaned up beforehand, and I have to pop these bolts off the cover so we can get the deck cleaned off really well. I'm gonna guess those are probably about an 8mm. So we're gonna come over here to the toolbox. Electric ratchet. If you don't have one, and I highly recommend the Milwaukee brand over anyone else, you want to get one of these. Makes taking things off a breeze. A little light. I'm partial to Milwaukee tools, but any brand will probably be good. I've just used these for a very long time, and this is what I swear by. So I am missing some sockets. I don't have all of them. You know, it might be a 10mm. I'm gonna try this real quick. It would help if I grabbed the right size socket. Size up. This should be the right one that we need. Is it a 10mm? Oh, it's bigger. 11 maybe? $11 or $12. I'm gonna try the 11. Ah, ha 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 ha. It's a 12. Fooling me already. Oh, even not quite. Doesn't say on there, just has a stamp. Oh, we'll get it. 13 or 14 maybe. Usually I'm a lot better at this. 13. Doing this one-handed is not the easiest. Let's try this. So it's a little tight from having grass on here, and also when you're using your electric ratchet, you always want to final tighten and loosen a couple turns first. We're going. Well, let me get back to you in a minute and see why that one doesn't want to come off. So as you can see, I got that one out of there. There is one, two more. I know it's a little hard to see right in here that have to come out. And might be a two-handed job here. Let's see. Should be a little easier now having the camera out of my hand. Yeah, tight. Being usually take these off like once a year to clean this up really well and leave them on the rest of the time. There's two. Set that here so we don't lose them. And it's going to be a little tough to get in here, but we can do it. One cover. Filthy. One here. One. There's actually four on here. There's one right here, two right here. That one is smaller by a long shot. I wonder if that one is going to be a 10 millimeter or maybe an 8 millimeter. That one is quite a bit smaller. Don't ask me why. Let me run to the handy dandy toolbox here. And because I didn't immediately have access to 3/8 ratchet sized sockets, I'm gonna use this. There's a 7. So it might actually be a 10. Yep. Definitely harder doing it. Ah. Well, when they get old, they just snap right off. Not the best way to go about that, but it's also not the end of the world either. Cover is off, so I'm gonna get these put back. We'll go ahead and get this pulled out and blow it off to start with. All right, now that we're outside, let's go get the blower and get this cleaned off. Sure, we'll end up needing water too, but let's get some of that grass off of here. There's still the dried grass from last time when we unloaded the Scag. Good on fuel. All right. All right. That was just a quick blow off to get a lot of the loose grass off of there. Obviously, there's still a lot left, so we're gonna have to give this a bath the old-fashioned way. So as you can see, I'm completely filthy and this is still pretty dirty. The goal is not to deceive what it is. It is an older mower. The goal is to just clean it up a little bit so it shows the imperfections, so you see where it still has some character left to it, where it's good, where it could use some attention, so we can get it sold. I might clean it up a little bit more from here, scrub down the deck a little bit. But again, I'm not trying to get it flawless. I'm not trying to misrepresent what it is. Just trying to get it cleaned up a little bit for the next person. So I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit and might come back to it. Okay, so I went ahead and ran this around for about 5-10 minutes, trying to get it nice and warm so that way we could drain the oil. So oil drains right there. We'll get that draining and then I'll go ahead and explain what comes in the kit. So we are going to need crescent wrench, second crescent wrench, grab this drain pan, so tucked up in here you have regular fitting and then just a square. So we're going to go ahead and attempt to get this off of here. I'm going to set you up on the tripod because this is going to be difficult to do holding a camera. Okay. Get that kind of tight. Then get the bottom one on there. Maybe get the bottom one on first, because I think... There we go. Snug. Do I have enough leverage? No, I don't. Let's see. What could I use to hold this really well? This has been on here for a little while now. I don't put that many hours on it every year. And you're supposed to replace the oil every 50 hours. So let me see if I have a different crescent wrench. Make this a little easier. So I did not have a larger crescent wrench, but I did have a 3/4. And 3/4 is what fits on that top. Now, let's see if we have any better luck. Ah, yes. Easier. Much, much easier. Not enough to grab it by hand yet. But we're getting there. Okay. Now that that's draining, go ahead and set this. Don't let me forget setting it right on top of the gas tank. So while that's draining, pop this, make that drain a little faster. Oh yeah, coming right out of there. Your filter is right here on the side. I'm gonna see where my filter wrench is. Let's take a look. Oh, filter wrench, where did I put you? That's a filter wrench. One type of filter wrench anyway. Still draining good. Now let's see if I can get a good angle on this. So I won't be able to with the tripod, so we're gonna come back to you in a minute. So that cracked off of there super easy. Took no time at all. And we're gonna make a mess everywhere, so I am going to keep this there and let it drain out a little bit more. Still flowing. See if I can push this. So it's still catching there, but hopefully is going to catch down that little weep hole right there. If not, I have stuff to fix that. So for now, I know this is dirty. We are going to go get some brake clean this up first. I have a new filter. Let's see here. So again, new oil filter, new air filter, new fuel filter, 2 new spark plugs, and the oil that I need. So we need brake clean. Handy dandy shelf of chemicals. Brake clean. Then we also need paper towels. Paper towels. All right, let me set you back up on the tripod. Okay, now that we are set up, give that a spray, give it a wipe down. Try and get this cleaner than it was. It's not the worst that I've ever seen, any filter box, but not the best shape either. So before we stick a new filter in there, why don't we go ahead and clean this up. See how dirty that was? Much better than it was. This could definitely use a good cleaning, so spray that out. Time to unbox that kit. Again, new oil filter, new motor oil, engine oil, same difference. People argue it's not. New fuel filter, new air cleaner. Let's stick this right back on immediately. Little tight being brand new, but it went on there good. So, cover back on. Drop in spark plugs. That's on. Spark plug, spark plug. Old air filter that we don't need. I'll go ahead and I will get that last little filter in there. Hard to see, but unfortunately no way to pre-fill these either, since it sits sideways on the machine. That is hot. That is full of oil. Very warm. I burned myself so you guys don't have to, but hopefully this helps some people along the way. No, this isn't the end all be all using these paper towels to soak up oil, but I'm going to use this for now so it doesn't make as much of a mess. And also I'm going to cap this off for now so we don't need it. Soak that up really well. And provide the mower with a little bit of extra lubrication, because why not? Even though your frame doesn't really need it. We do live in the Rust Belt, but I don't run this in the middle of winter. Okay. Halfway cleaned up for now. Plug looks good. A little bit of gunk on the end there. I don't think this is magnetic, but I didn't see anything that looked alarming. So we will go ahead and put that back on now that we're done draining oil. Didn't take too long at all, thankfully. Give this a little wipe down. Let's tighten that back. I'm sure I could probably find a wrench to make this easier, but it works and it's tight. It didn't feel like it cross-threaded or anything like that, but do be careful. Always make sure that you hand tighten these first before you go ahead and crank on them with a wrench. Just to make sure you don't cross-thread, strip things out, and make your life miserable. Because one broken bolt, thankfully not like the one from earlier, or one stripped thread can turn a 20-minute job into a 2-hour job, and nobody wants to deal with that. Next portion, filter, pull cap off. Discard that off to the side. Blindly reach down in a hole because if it were easy, everyone would be doing it. Make sure that thread's on nice. It is threading on very nicely. And now, people will make a mistake and think that you have to really crank these on there. You don't. You only got to put them on by hand. And you know, I just realized, even though I'm not filling this with oil, I did break a rule that I always do. So let me show you in real time what I'm going to fix by taking this back off. Because you're going to do it right. Do it twice. Don't ever think about it the first time. Oh, well, actually, that was kind of nice. So you can see on here, I didn't put this on with any oil, but there was some oil residue left on here. Even though it is used oil, I'm just using it to wet this seal. We'll go ahead and reinstall that. And of course, the second time doesn't want to start. There we go. Because if you have to do it a second time, why not make sure that it's harder than the first? So I am just snugging this up by hand. You will end up screwing the next guy if you just crank on those as hard as you can and put a wrench on them. Don't do that. I found that after you hand tighten them, they typically will tighten up a little bit after you run them. If they do loosen up, you can go in and check it. So typically after I replace a filter on anything, whether it be the truck, the car, lawnmower, I'll run it for a little bit after I do a first startup and make sure it's not leaking anywhere. Run it for a little bit, let it cool down, check it again, and I'll just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the oil levels for a little bit, make sure nothing is acting like it shouldn't. So now that we did oil, we still have to put oil in it, which is fine, but I also need to do, or I should do because I have them, spark plugs. So there's one here and one on the other side, and also right here is your fuel filter. I don't know how imperative it is that you do these every single time, but I got a new one with the kit, so I might as well just do it. So I will, yeah, that's gonna take a minute to fidget with to pop those off. And it's still hot, so I'm gonna do the fuel filter next. So let me go get a pair of pliers so I can go ahead and pop those loose, and we'll do that. Let this cool down a little bit more. Then we'll do spark plugs and we'll also fill it with oil. Okay, I did grab 2 different pairs of pliers, but I'm gonna use needle nose. I think that's going to be the easiest thing to get in there. It's not horrible, the access you have right here, but it's easier to get smaller things in here than it is to get larger things. So we can pop this out like that. Okay, I'm going to switch these out because of the way the tabs are on here. I know it's a little hard to see, but just bear with me. There's one. Now, directional. I don't know how much it really matters, but might as well do it the right way. So we're gonna set that off here for a second so that doesn't spill. New one's gonna go in. Push that down as far as we can on there. Boom, one done. Let's finish this off. See how those clips have multiple tabs, so it'll just be easier to do it like this. Okay. Reinstall clip. Good. Put this back into clamp like so. Good. Now that that's in there, let's go ahead and dump some oil. I'm gonna go grab a funnel and I'll pick you guys back up in a minute. So they gave us 2 quarts, and I wanted to double check and see that it was actually 2 quarts, and it is roughly 2 quarts. Motor specifications in the owner's manual will tell you exactly. I don't know where that is right this second, so I'm just going to use the handy dandy Google, and that's what I did. About 2. Cut this open with a knife. Yes, I am putting garbage away into a garbage bin. Set that right there. Pull this off. Did you also know that brake clean or ether is also very good for cleaning funnels, of which I have many, and all of them appear to be dirty. So put it out with a paper towel. Drop your funnel, because it's funner that way to pick it up 8 times instead of the once you need it. I'm sure there's other oil you can put in here besides the Kohler, I'm sorry, the Cup Cadet 4-cycle engine oil. I use Kohler and a lot of other things. You probably could use Kohler series oil on this since it is a Kohler motor, but it was easy enough just to get the kit. So let's start with that. One done. Next up, we'll dump about half of this in to start with, just to make sure, plus or minus 2 quarts. That's about half. Clean off our dipstick all the way in. Pull it out. It's very hard to see, but it is right there at the tip of my finger. You can see that. Focus. Yep. So I'm going to say it's going to take this whole 2 quarts. And it's also got to fill that filter back up. I'm not exactly worried about it being a little bit overfull to start with, but obviously you don't want to run that like that long term. I do wish we could go back to the days of motors where you just had, or engines, where you just had filters that ran up and down, so that way you could pre-fill them and you wouldn't have to worry about that. Hard to tell. Focus. Right about where my finger is where it started. Focus. There we go. And it dripped down because I am holding this at an angle. But again, being a little over full and knowing that that filter is empty, I'm not too concerned yet. So do you guys remember the checklist? Let's see. Oil drain and replaced, check. Cleaned out air filter box, put new filter in, check. Did new fuel filter, new motor filter, engine filter. So last thing that we should have to do on this is going to be spark plug. And did this cool down? It's still warm to the touch, but it cooled down quite a bit from what it was. So there's 1, there's 2. Okay. There are 2 sizes of spark plugs. This is going to be smaller. I'm going to go get a spark plug wrench. Easier idea instead of looking in the toolbox. Handy dandy tools right here. Set these off to the side so they're not in my way. Because while tripping on them would make a good video for you guys, I don't feel like dealing with that nonsense. Gotta be 5/8. There is a rubber piece in here, help capture, and it is 5/8. Question's gonna be, how easy is that to get? And I think the answer is gonna be not what you would expect. Yep, that's gonna not be great. It's gonna have to be long. Also, I'm gonna need a swivel, and I'm hoping I can get this in here. One side down. These don't even honestly look that bad, but I have new ones, so I might as well use them anyway. Show you. So, focus. These are the ones that I pulled out of there. I've seen way worse, but focus. These are the new ones. Have them, might as well use them. I'll save these, give them to the next guy. So because your fuel tanks are in the way slightly, I am kind of blindly fishing a little bit, but we got it started. It doesn't feel cross-threaded or anything like that. So now I got it in a handful of threads. And of course I already knew the answer. I was going the wrong way. Learn from my mistakes. Let's go over here. So you don't have to really crank on these, but you do want them kind of tight. And this is a little bit big. This is not really, you know, a 1/2 inch is not the wrench that you need to do this with. Just gonna snug it in there. This back on. Good. Pull the other one out. Do I have enough space? Oh, yes. See, if I just had a little bit of an extension, it would be nice, but then I would not be hitting this, but then I'd be hitting this, so, you know, engineers. If we made it a couple inches wider, it would be the end of the world. If it'll focus again, come on. There we go. So again, I've seen way worse, but still gonna replace it. Leave it as a spare for the next guy, because I'm just nice like that. I don't think I'll bore you with the second one. Catch you in a few. All right, we got everything back together. Got the oil put away, my tools put away. The guard's back onto this. Everything should be good. Make sure you put your oil away properly. Any place that sells engine oil or motor oil, like any auto parts store, will take your used oil for free. So dispose of it properly. Don't just throw it on the ground. Moment of truth. Let's see if it starts. Okay. I didn't see any leaks by the filter. I don't see anything that dripped onto the floor. So I'm going to say this is good to go. All right, guys. If you like the channel, if you like following along today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content.